Hey y'all, welcome to Culture Cult. My name is Marie. I am the host of the show, and this is a show where we are on a mission to learn about every country in the world so we can all become less ignorant. And today we are covering Denmark, aka Daneland. And my friend and writer of the show, Laura, is actually telling me the story today. So it's going to be a reverse episode. And at the end of this episode, we're going to be learning about Denmark's mad king, Christian VII, and the deadly affair that tore everything apart. But first, Laura has the coolest travel hack I've heard in a really long time. And we're talking about that at the beginning of this episode. And we both just got back from year-long travel trips. I've been traveling the world. Laura has been living out of her car with her boyfriend, camping while working. And we've just got done with year-long trips. And we're talking about what it's like being back home. So let's get into the episode.
Nothing will make you have an existential crisis than going back home after traveling. I mean, I cannot leave my home without seeing somebody I know. That has never happened to me. I truly do not think I have ever been able to leave my house and go do an errand without seeing somebody I know. So it is really, I'm on edge. I'm on edge. And I don't want anyone to know that I'm here, from high school and stuff. I don't want to know. But here's the thing. I have my camper parked outside my house. I have people go up to my parents and they're like, oh my gosh, that camper, what is that? That's so cute. Drove past your house and saw it. And I'm like, you can't get away with freaking murder around here. I went to the bank and they were like, you look just like your dad. And I was like, I don't even know you. Can't do anything. I went into the title office to get the title for the camper a couple of months ago before we left. And the woman was like, oh my gosh, wait a second. I know where you live because I've seen this camper outside your house. You're so-and-so's daughter. And I was like, yeah.
Wait, what town is this?
Ohio. See, now people are going to come for me. Marie.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about Ohio.
No one ever knows what to say.
I mean, because in Alabama, people at least have something like to say. But with Ohio, it's it's kind of, no offense, but a skip over state. So what do you do?
Yeah. What do you do?
Head to Chicago.
That's a great question. I'll tell you what. Fast forward 50 years, we're going to be an up-and-coming playover.
That's what I say about Birmingham. Actually, I will say the restaurant scene in Birmingham has gotten insanely good.
I went to an amazing Goodwill in Birmingham, actually.
Yeah, I will say there's a lot of rich people, so they drop off their stuff. So the Plato's Closet here is phenomenal.
There's this place called Unclaimed Baggage. Have you heard of this place? No. It's not in Birmingham. It's farther north. It's northeastern Alabama. And it's where, so once your luggage is lost, if it's lost for 90 days, it becomes government property. And this company, Unclaimed Baggage, purchases the government property from the government, suitcases, whatever you could imagine. And it goes on this website called Unclaimed Baggage. And I have ordered things from there. It's fantastic stuff. And it's always 50% off. You can get Kindles, anything you could imagine that people travel with, you can buy. Designer stuff.
Wait,
you can get.
Such good information.
They have new drops every Thursday and Saturday.
We're losing that much baggage.
So the hot tip is now, this time of year, okay, and maybe we're a little bit late, but 90 days after the holidays is when you want to be on there because people are flying with all their presents or they just got all this amazing new stuff and then they lose their luggage. And it ends up on this website that we can purchase.
Okay, you have to send me the website because I'm trying to find it. Okay. I'll put it in the show notes because that's freaking brilliant. Also sad for all the people's stuff that's gone, but
so the reason, true. Well, 99.9% of luggage that you check gets back to you.
Yeah.
But there's that 1% that doesn't. And because so many people fly, that 1% is a lot of stuff. But anyway, there's a store. The warehouse is in this place in Alabama. And I really want to go to it because it's just this massive warehouse of all the stuff. So rather than shopping online, you can go there. I want to go so bad. They are the largest professional cleaners in the entire country. So they professionally clean everything before it's purchased, which is also huge. You can also search brands. So if you wanted to search Patagonia, all the Patagonia stuff will come up. If you want to search.
Wow.
Yeah.
Multiple people have lost cheetah and snake print dresses.
Scary. Or scary for them.
I will not be buying that. Okay, I've never heard of this. Wow, go Alabama. That's now my new fun fact. Oh, there's a really cute black solid jumpsuit for anyone who likes it. That's cute.
I like to go look at their jewelry because I always think like people were traveling with this much jewelry in their check bag. Or, like, who is checking all these engagement rings that they were like gonna propose to somebody with, or maybe somebody said no? Like the drama behind it, I just want to know.
These are engagement rings. You're right. What the fuck? This is the most craziest website I've ever. Laura, oh my God. Whoa.
This is my social media.
Wait, no. Okay, this is the most beautiful pear-shaped dark blue stone diamond halo ring for $442.
I saw like some Gucci jewelry on here. Like it was like $300. Not that I would really want that, but it's just crazy.
Okay, I don't know. The superstitious person in me is like, is it cursed to buy someone's stuff?
They were stupid enough to lose it or put it in their checked bag, so.
Your engagement ring? What the fuck?
Well, maybe somebody said no and they're like, fine, I'll just bring it back and check it in my bag, you know? Later on the trip.
Heart sinking when you're like, we've lost your bag, sir. And they're like, wait, there's a $20,000 ring.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, now it lives in Alabama in a warehouse.
The last thing I'll say, they do have a section that's called like unique finds, and it's freaking crazy.
Wait, mystery boxes? Holy shit. What's a mystery box? Unclaimed mystery boxes will bring you a surprise and value all in one. Pick a category and an assortment, and items will be bundled for you at an incredible bargain.
Okay, so it's right under featured under mystery boxes. It says unusual finds.
Dude, okay, that's what is going on here. This is a replica Super Bowl belt. What's sold out? Oh, unfortunately, the Exorcist reaction figure is sold out.
You think they came to this site specifically looking for that item, or do you think they just happened upon it?
Like, I have to add that to my cart. I'm sorry, the mystery boxes are so sick. The Reader's mystery box. Intimates mystery box? No one buy that.
Oof.
Don't buy that. Wait, there's a stuffed plushie mystery box. I'll take that. This just broke my brain.
Yeah, enjoy.
And this is from Alabama. Love to rep.
Yeah, and like, you know, my capitalistic brain is like, you could just buy all this stuff and then resell it, but maybe just enjoy.
Oh my God. Okay, well, we're here to talk. Well, I'm going to introduce you. Jesus Christ.
Do you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm Laura. Thank you, Marie, for letting me be here. I am a content strategist for travel influencers and travel brands, and that basically means I do all of their ghostwriting from my pink armchair in my living room while they are gallivanting the world, and it's the best.
And you write the stories for the show.
Oh my God. And I write the stories for the show. I'm literally about to reread to you something I have written, which, yes, is as uncomfortable as listening to an own recording of your voice.
But yeah, and we both just got off major trips. I just did 10 months traveling the world, and you just did the most insane thing of like living with your boyfriend in a car, working from the car, running your business.
Yeah. I lived in a rooftop tent for like 6 months, and I don't think those words will ever really like, I will believe them when they come out of my mouth, but that's what happened to me by choice. And then I bought a tiny teardrop trailer, and then I lived in that for 2 months, a couple of weeks. And now I'm in a house, thank God. But that was it. I'm done now. I'm done traveling for a bit. I need time to recalibrate.
No, I'm pooped too. Like I had a huge burnout when I was in Korea, which is so unfortunate because I was so excited for Korea. Yeah, but when you hit that burnout, there's like no going back. You can try to like sprinkle stuff on it. When you're done, you're done. Yeah. So now we're recovering travelers, but we are going to talk about Denmark. So I want to talk about Denmark because you're like the only person I know that's been there, which is like, it's a popular country. So I don't know why you're a token person for that. And then we'll get into your story where you're going to reverse episode and read that shit to me. Denmark. I just want to preface, if anyone listened to the last episode, I'm covering this country because I was calling it Daneland, like as a joke. But low key, I was like, where is Denmark? And like, why is it not called Daneland? It's so much better. And
I can't even believe that you really did that.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be cute to have shirts that say I love Daneland? I just feel like Daneland's such a great name for
God, this is why the Europeans hate us, isn't it?
Like, let's rename and put it on a t-shirt. How American of me. But you actually been there. You purposely were like, I want to go there. So that's my first question. Why Denmark?
Yeah, so I am that annoying person who studied abroad there. So I was there for, a couple of months and I loved it so much. And so I've always wanted to go back since then. And so I decided I'm going back. And I went back and it was as awesome as I remember it being, which always made me a little bit nervous. I was like, because when you visit a place that was so amazing the first time and you go back, it's like, was I living in a fever dream or was it actually that awesome? And it is actually that awesome. So that's why I went back.
Why Denmark?
Yeah. Okay. So when I went into the study abroad office at my university, this woman was so wildly unhelpful. And she was like, oh, do you like being outside? I was like, yeah. She's like, you should go to New Zealand. And I was like, that doesn't seem like a good enough reason for me, which I would have had a fabulous time no matter where I went, truly. But I live in a super small town, always have, and I've never experienced like a city before. And I really wanted to have that experience. And I thought, who the fuck goes to Denmark? And I was like, I want to go to Denmark. That sounds sick. So I researched it and I was like, yeah, this sounds awesome. So I applied and they were like, okay, fine. And then I went and it was great. So it was really just to experience the city. And then I think that kind of also ruined me because this, I feel like, is peak city living.
Yep.
Like you cannot get better than living in Copenhagen. I believe this. I will die on that hill. So then moving to like an American city after that was a little soul crushing, but it's okay.
Yeah.
You would love it.
Yeah. It looks like cozy town. My next question is like, what were you romanticizing about the country? Because every time we travel, we like romanticize it. We're on Pinterest, we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then like what actually surprised you when you got there?
Okay, yes. So I had romanticized, like hygge is a massive thing in this country and there's no direct translation, but it really just means like cozy. And so I had romanticized, okay, I'm going to like go to a cafe. I'm going to get like a little coffee. I'm going to get a little pastry and I'm going to be the main character. And I hate to say that is quite literally exactly what it's like there. Like that is what happened to me. And it was fabulous. But the other thing that surprised me is I feel like in the States, people are very generally friendly people. Like they'll be like, hey, hi, how are you? We'll just exchange pleasantries, whether we mean it or not. But there, they don't do that. And they have a really close-knit social group. It's incredibly difficult to infiltrate, to even make friends. Because they're like, we've been friends since kindergarten. Those are my friends.
Whoa.
Not making any more friends.
Oh.
So it's really hard for anybody who immigrates there to make friends or like have a social life. And people don't have that same like sort of friendliness on the sidewalk or like passing them, in the store or something. And the most stressful experience is when you're at the grocery store and the little barriers between like the person in front of you, their groceries and yours, they do not take that shit lightly. They are like, move so fucking fast. It's like the Olympics. I swear to God. They scan your shit and then you have to take the thing and put it behind you for the person coming behind you. Like you have to like be on it and they get mad at you if you don't. So it's like these little tiny things that are like, wait a second, you guys are so like lovely and cozy, but also so caveman like so like hard and cold.
Yeah.
But yet live in this most beautiful place ever.
Yeah.
So that was a little tough, was like trying to, because I just wanted to be like, let's make friends and blah. And they're like, that's not how like we work over here. We do our thing and we try not to, we have our friends and we're happy and we have our routines and we don't like do extra things we don't need to do. And so that was a little bit difficult, but overall.
I see. Okay. So like was it called hygge or hygge?
It's hygge.
Okay. Neither. Hygge. So hygge, it seems like it's hygge, but within their own personal space. Not hygge between me and you. Like I don't need to be cozy to you. I just need to be cozy in my own home and make sure like everywhere I go is cozy. But like, because honestly, the weather's what I was looking it up seems like it sucks. So you just need to make life more cozy. But it doesn't seem like the interpersonal skills are there.
Totally. And I think like that's just how they operate, you know? It's not like they're personally intending to be cold. It's
Yeah.
just like they're just happy with what they have. They're just content with the number of friends and the family and the whatever that they have, that they're like, I'm good. I don't need to be like seeking out new XYZ things. Totally.
I will say,
Totally.
unfortunately, I haven't met many Danes, and the one I did meet did not give y'all a good reputation. I was in oh my god, if he listens to this, sorry, but this is how he came off. I was in Thailand, and he was so not machismo. What's the word? Like
mischievous?
No, it is machismo. It's like he like Andrew Tate or one of those guys. Yeah, he's one of those. Totally would love Trump. Like just like one of those women should stay in the kitchen. Like he just started getting super like aggressive with me. He was just like very women have their place. And so I was like, I'm not gonna hold that against Denmark. I think you're on YouTube too much and on the wrong YouTube. But unfortunately,
you're not on the same YouTube I'm on.
Yeah, I would like to meet other Danes, but maybe they're a little bit hard to meet. So I need to meet another one.
I don't know. They're also incredibly trusting. Like they will leave, you know, their kids, their babies on the strollers in the sidewalk.
My friend is there right now, and he said that he and his sister went to the bar and they left their kid outside. The baby, sorry, in the carriage.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just trusting, you know? And like that's not something we can relate to. Or isn't it sad that that's a little shocking to us? But
well, every place has their like pros and cons, and it seems like they're such rule followers that like you can leave your baby outside, but you cannot cross other certain norms, like social norms. Yeah. Like in the South, everyone's super, super nice, but definitely don't leave your kid outside. That makes down.
I like this past couple of months was the first time I really spent any time in the South, and I was like, everybody is so sweet. Like I would say like the Midwestern people are nice. The people in the South are sweet, and the people in the North, like New England, just suck, you know?
Yeah, it's so nice being back in the South. But this is about Denmark before I get all like teary-eyed, because I just think our people are just really, really nice. And I do think I struggle a little bit with northern countries because I'm not used to that. Okay, so what kind of pastries are you getting there? I'm just curious.
Oh my God. Okay. They have these things called Snails, and essentially they're like elevated cinnamon rolls.
Okay.
And there's this bakery, it's called St. Peter's Bakery, and on Wednesdays they have something called the Wednesday Snail. And it's just like massive pastry, massive cinnamon rolls that you can get. But I experimented because I was like, okay, I ate like 6 months worth of cinnamon rolls during my time. I'm going to get something else. I got a pastry that it was chocolate, but it had pistachio on top and powdered sugar, and it sent me into a coma. It was like I would fly there. I'm not even joking, to go eat one of those. It was delicious. So that's what I'm eating. A lot of that, just a lot of junk. I don't know. All the food is even aesthetic. Like the food literally looks like Pinterest, you know, like plates of beautiful brunch and meats and cheeses and spreads and fruit.
That's me.
It's a dream.
That's why I love France, because it's a country that snacks. Like I want cheese and bread and talk over some wine, which I guess is like beer, more of a beer country.
Yeah. So Carlsberg is brewed in Copenhagen,
okay,
which is beer. But when I went, they have it's called Glug. I can't pronounce it perfectly correctly, but
come on, y'all.
It's mulled wine. They're a big mulled wine people in the winter.
But you don't need to call it Glug. Like what the fuck?
That's what it's called.
Come on.
Oh my God.
Okay, did you just go to Copenhagen? Oh, wait, it's Copenhagen. Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen. When you go into Copenhagen, was that all you went to mainly? Was there?
Yeah, I've been to other parts of Denmark, but on this last trip was just Copenhagen. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you suggest people should go besides Copenhagen?
So Denmark is smaller than Ohio, so it's literally so teeny weeny.
Oh.
I highly recommend obviously going to Copenhagen. If you're flying into Denmark, that's your only option, really. I mean, you could fly into like Aarhus or something, but it's just not gonna. No, don't do that. I would stay in Copenhagen for a few days and just use it as like a base to go and travel. Like I biked to a town south of Copenhagen, and it was like so beautiful. Like the biking is just so accessible that I would just rent bikes and bike to different little towns, maybe even like do a little bike backpacking trip and stay in other little inns in other little towns from Copenhagen. That's what I would do.
I love that idea.
Yeah. A lot of people, like everyone in Copenhagen speaks English, except really people who the older generations don't. I found like they don't speak English, but in Copenhagen they will. But when you get out towards the other like main island of Denmark, that's when you lose a lot of the English speaking people. So if that's a concern for you, I would not go there because they will not speak English.
Yeah, and I've heard like Danish is it's kind of made fun of as a language in the Nordic, like, and that it's not the desirable one, is what I hear.
No, they're all bad. They're all bad and horrible. And I still know a little bit of it, but
Wait, practice. Tell us some practice words.
Okay, I'll tell you. There people the Danes are gonna make fun of me, Marie.
Listen, you're all I got besides that fucking Andrew Tate guy. So it's you and him.
Jeg taler lidt dansk. That means I speak a little Danish.
One more time.
Jeg taler lidt dansk.
Jeg taler lidt dansk.
And then you can say, jeg bor på I Denmark. That means I live in Denmark.
Ja, bo på. It sounds like a Sims language or something.
It is. And I used to be much better at it. I mean, I studied it when I was there, and then I did like Duolingo like for a year of Danish just because I was like, let's be fun. Yeah. But then I realized this is unrealistic and stupid because I'm never going to use it. And I learned Spanish now.
You are now, so thank God.
Yeah. I do have to say my favorite like accent of people speaking English is Danish people. I think it's so cute when they speak English. It sounds, I don't know, I just love their little English accents.
Okay, so like what are some tips that you can give us that people can't find on Pinterest?
What are some tips for Copenhagen that you can't find on the internet? Okay. I think an insider tip is the Wednesday snail place. I only found out about that through like word of mouth being there. Now you could probably Google it, but when I was there, that was like a low-key thing. You can also totally just like go out and about and walk in the middle of the night and like be totally safe and fine. Like it's just such a safe place. You need to wear comfortable walking shoes. People say this all the time when you travel, wear comfortable shoes, but like for real, because the streets and the sidewalks are cobblestone almost exclusively, and it fucking hurts your feet. It is because it's so walkable. So you're like, okay, I'm going to walk everywhere. Like it's such a tiny capital city that you can seriously walk almost the entire thing in one day, and you're going to want to. And I need you to wear comfortable shoes because they're like, it just fucking rocks in the road that hurt.
Yeah. And it's just very uneven. And then you're like having to balance yourself technically.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to bike, I need you to stay in the right of the lane. Most people, like the Danes know, they like can tell when you're not a good biker or like new to the biking culture. I also need you to look up the hand signals because they're not the same as the US.
Okay. Good tip.
Yes, they're not the same. So if you're throwing out a little left, that means nothing to them. You gotta learn their hand signals.
Whoa, big tip. I feel like people would not think to look that up.
Yep, you should need to look that up. My favorite cafe. Nobody goes to Denmark and like eats burgers, but there's this place called Gasoline Grill, and it's a gas station. It's the only gas station in the city of Copenhagen. And you walk up to the gas station window, and it's like this beautiful, super expensive burger place, and they are so good. So good. And on Sundays, they don't let cars into the city, which is awesome.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. It's just the fucking best. Oh, the living room. The living room is like my favorite cafe. 3 stories tall. It sounds exactly like it is. It's so cozy. The coffee is so good. They have like little bunch of different little rooms and tea rooms you can like go sit in and hang out in. Love that so much.
And it's like raining outside and like you have your...
Yes. I would also... People look up things to do in Copenhagen, and what never comes up, but I highly recommend, is going into a furniture store or going into a mall and looking at all of the like home furnishing things, because it is so beautiful and amazing. Because Denmark is known for their design, specifically their chairs, which is, and lights, chairs and lighting. Like a lot of lights, like once you look up like Danish lighting, you'll notice it in a lot of like big buildings you go into. But I need you to go to like a mall or a furniture store. There's one called Hay, Hay. It's in a very walkable part of the city. They have absolutely beautiful everything. You'll want to take home everything.
Whoa.
It's so awesome. And you'll see them like walking down the street. It's not even hard to find. You'll see like the furniture stores just on the side of the street in the city, and you'll like want to peek in. It's so freaking cool.
Oh, it just sounds so cozy. Like,
it is so cozy.
But that is kind of crazy that you actually like live there and you found it hard to break into the actual culture. So maybe it's just more like of a place to visit.
Yeah. And like
place.
I had worst case scenario, you know, every time I went out, I was trailed by 5 other Americans, you know?
Yeah. You're like repelling them at a fast rate.
Yeah. Yeah. And even before I would walk into a store, I wouldn't say a thing. I would walk into the store and they would greet me in English. I'm literally wearing all dark colors. I think it's because I'm brunette and short and everybody there is tall and blonde.
Okay, yeah, we have to talk about that. Like the insane attractability of everyone. Like
they're beautiful.
Are they like funny though? Like I'm just curious, like are they beauty and brains? Like
I think so. I think the Danes that I have met and know are funny.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Damn, they have it all.
Yeah, they're also just beautiful. And they dress like they're so fashionable. Like I would see women like biking in like cheetah print skirts.
Wow.
Like they were dressed up. I rarely saw people in like athleisure, you know, walking around. They're like, we're dressing up. The worst thing about Copenhagen that I need people to realize is that it is so white. It is such a white place that there is not a lot of diversity at all.
Okay.
So if it was a much more diverse place, it would be the most perfect place on earth. But that is a noticeable thing and noticeable drawback. Even the students in my program who like I studied abroad with and lived with were all white.
Okay.
Of course, are there other people who live there who are not white? Yes, but it is overwhelmingly a white place.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. My last question really is it is known to be expensive. What do you think?
Yes, it is so fucking expensive, Marie. It is like New York City. Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to remember what I paid per night. I think I stayed in like a hostel sort of private room hotel situation. It was a borderline between a hostel and a hotel, and I couldn't tell what it wanted to be. But I think it was around like $60 to $75 a night. And some hotels even, I mean, there's like obviously super bougie hotels, so like the price limit is none. But I would say for somebody you could find a place that's under $200 a night. Yeah. But I would prepare yourself to pay like $120, $190 per night.
Jesus.
It's really expensive. So that's why I would say, and like the food is expensive, but you want to experience the food.
Yeah.
So go stay somewhere cheap. You're going to be out all day walking around anyway. And then when you get tired, go lay in bed or go to a cafe or something and hang out. So spend your money on the food. And the experiences are all free.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So like you can visit the castle and walk around the grounds for free. If you want to go in the castle, you pay for that. I don't know how much it is because I never did it. Like the beach is amazing and free. So there's a lot of free things to do. If you are nervous about biking or just like not good at it, I would not encourage you to bike. That's where, I mean, I got really, really good at biking there. Like, I wouldn't say I was a bad biker before, but like I could confidently bike, like, you know, without holding on to anything or like holding other things or like, you know, moving around. So if you're not a confident biker, do not do this to yourself. Turning left is also incredibly hard. So like I said, you need to you need to watch a little YouTube video on biking in Copenhagen before you consider that option.
Okay.
There used to be electric scooters. There are not any anymore. And I looked it up. Yeah, it's because they were competing with bike storage.
So I guess, yeah, with Copenhagen or just going to Denmark, if you're having a trip, like just maybe see if you can make a Danish friend so you don't have to pay for accommodation. That's ideal.
Yeah,
trusted house sitters, or just get the lowest you can find in accommodation and spend your money on food.
Agree. I wish I could live there, to be honest. I mean, I could, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I do.
Wait, why don't you want to?
Because one, it's super expensive. It's super far from family. But then again, it's also not that far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not that far.
Like nothing is far. Australia is far. Jesus.
Yeah.
That just getting there, I was like, how do y'all clearly can't leave. Like, where do you? It's just
they are so isolated.
And then New Zealand, don't even get me started. That's even further.
I know. I don't understand.
But I will go visit. There's certain countries where I'm like, that's when I'm rich.
Yeah.
Because I want to be bougie there.
Yeah. Oh, this is a great place to do this. Fantastic place.
Yeah.
I would also just not live there because I frankly don't have the energy to try and infiltrate a new culture and make new friends. And you can live there for up to 7 years, but after 7 years, you have to like pay a shit ton of taxes or something like that.
Okay.
So I have a friend who actually I studied abroad with who is living there. She's been living there since we left, and she is approaching her 7 years.
Okay.
And she's like, I'm going to move home because it's either I pay this tax and I live here forever, or I leave now and like get out of paying all this money. And she was dating a Danish boy and they broke up and it was all traumatic. And she's like, I think I'm going to go home.
Oh,
I'm like,
God. Okay. That's good to know. You can only live there for only 7 years. Okay. So yeah, now we're going to get into our story that I found and you're going to tell it to me. And I watched a part of the movie. I didn't finish it. I just wanted to get the vibe. But I didn't want to get the ending, but I did get the vibe of the story and of the feeling of Denmark and 1700s, whenever.
Scary place. Scary place. I'm nervous to tell you this story. Okay, so we're going to talk about some king shit. Okay.
King shit.
Are you ready? We are diving into what the heck is up with Denmark's former king, Christian VII. Okay, when I was first researching Christian VII, the first article I found called him a mentally incompetent king of Denmark and Norway, which is terrifying. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for him. I'm nervous for the people of Denmark and Norway because apparently this child is in charge of both. Okay. That's what they did, in the 1700s. So I can't wait to tell you what's about to go down here. So our dear Christian was born in Copenhagen in 1749. Mm-hmm. It was not until 1766 that he took over the throne. So let's do some quick math real quick, actually. Oh, he was 17. Great.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Usually they're like 12.
Yeah, this is a little bit better.
Yeah.
So allegedly, his mental issues came from his crazy childhood. Now, like people associate this king with being like deranged and crazy. And apparently it's from his childhood, which, yeah, that makes sense. A lot of crazy shit you do as an adult is because of that. Mm-hmm. The first traumatic thing that happened to him was when he was 2, he lost his mom. And his mom was only 27. After this, his father became an alcoholic and also became mentally ill and died at 42. Mm-hmm. So this is just sad. These are just sad things that have happened to Christian. And like, I feel a little bit bad for him, but I stopped feeling bad when I learned more things. So during the time between his mother's death and his father's death, so his mom has died and his dad is still alive, his dad was really disinterested in him. He was like, he was going through his own battles here. He was consuming alcohol. He was mentally ill. He was grieving. And this had a massive impact on Christian's mental health, as it would be, because you are, a child and just being ignored by your only caretaker now. During this time in his life, and it's unclear to me exactly how old he was when this happened, but he had a tutor. And it turned out that this tutor was incredibly cruel to him.
Oh, no.
Like physically, was abusing him. And it was horrible.
Aww.
So he switched to a new tutor. Again, we still feel bad for Christian. Okay. We still feel bad. It's horrible. It's horrible. I still don't feel bad.
I have to remind you, because
Yeah. He then switched to a new tutor who obviously couldn't undo the impact of this horrible treatment he'd received first, but I think it was a little bit better. In his free time, when Christian was young, this is when the madness began. He would walk the streets of Copenhagen with a spiked club and literally hit people who would walk by.
Holy shit.
Like multiple times he would do this and just smack people who were coming by, which is crazy. It was also noted that he was smart. Like, he was smart as a kid, and he wasn't always completely crazy, but I mean, that seems like a warning cry for help if he's, like, taking a spiked club into the streets.
Yeah.
But other people say that as a child, he was insecure. It's clear he didn't have a great education because he was being, like, harmed during his first teacher that came along. And then who knows, his second teacher was probably like, all right, dude, you're a little fucking crazy. I don't really know how much math we can get through. So in 1772, Christian took over the throne at the age of 16 or 17. See, I didn't even need to do the math because I already did the math. So expectations were super high for him. And this kid obviously is doomed. He's doomed from the start, and people just shouldn't have given him the throne. But, that's just how it goes. When somebody passes away, you take it on, whatever. Very few knew at this time, when he was 17, taking over the throne, that he was already showing signs of some unhinged behavior.
Mm.
So after his first year of ruling, so now it's 1773, Christians, people to him, like those close to him, were like, we got to get this man married. We got to get him married.
No.
Because they believed that would help him.
No.
That would help him calm down. I know, this poor woman, right? So these talks of marriage first involved his first cousin, of course, because, reminder, it is 1773. And her name is Princess Louisa of Wales.
Okay.
But when a Danish rep in London got a whiff that he was considering marrying Louisa, they had heard about her bad health. And so she was out of the running. So he was going to marry his cousin. And then this Danish representative was like, whoa, 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 you can't marry her. She's like not healthy. And he was like, okay, fine. Yeah, not because he was marrying his cousin, but because she was. So this means Christian ended up marrying Princess Carolina Matilda of Wales. So the most fucked up part, and we're just getting started, is that she had no idea of Christian's mental state when she was preparing to marry him. She had no idea that maybe he was so insane and crazy and learned anything about his past at all. She was just like, you're gonna marry this guy, and she was like, okay.
In the movie that they portrayed as she's so excited and she's romanticizing marrying a prince or king or whatever. I'm sure she's just hoping for the best because she also knows what era she lives in.
Yeah, on paper, it sounds fantastic. You're going to go marry this prince. You're going to live in this beautiful palace. It's going to be amazing. So Christian was immediately disinterested in Caroline. He was immediately like, no. And part of the reason why he didn't really like Caroline is because he really wanted to marry her sister. He really wanted to marry her sister, but he got stuck with Caroline. Other than that, I think he was just kind of being an asshole to her and just didn't, wasn't interested in her. He literally said out loud that he couldn't love his wife Caroline because it was, quote, unfashionable to love one's life.
It's unfashionable to love one's wife?
Yeah. That's what he says.
What?
Okay, yeah. This man is, I know.
That's okay.
I know. He didn't even want to have physical intimacy with Caroline, and he was eventually forced to because it was his duty.
Oh my God.
Not good. Things are not good for either of them.
That does not make her feel good at all. She already is fuck, get me out of this. And now they're forced to. I'm sure she doesn't want to touch him either.
I know. Imagine how gross he stinks.
Ew.
I can just imagine. So these two, Caroline and Christian, ended up having 2 children together.
Forced.
Yeah. And their names were Frederick and Louise.
Okay.
It's not really believed that Christian would have been Louise's dad, though. So there's some drama there.
Okay.
People don't really think that he's really the father. But we will come back to that. We will circle back to that.
Okay.
So now that you have a little bit of context about Christian, we can get into the good stuff here. So it's pretty clear Christian has something wrong going on. He's not completely there or healthy in really any way. No one really knew why he had so many mental health issues, but there are a few guesses. And of course, it comes back to his brutal childhood tutor. He might have also potentially had I don't know how to say this. Porphyria?
Porphyria?
It's a rare group of blood disorders that affect the skin, nervous system, and gastrointestinal system.
Huh.
So he is hurting, I would say.
Okay.
Our king, he may just have had some tummy troubles, which caused his insane mental health.
Yeah, well, that's upsetting.
Yeah, totally. Which, as a tummy trouble girly, I get it. I get it. I don't know if it's going to make me take a spiked club out into the street, but
well, they say that your digestive system or whatever, I don't know, fancy words, insert fancy words is important. That's my fact of the day.
Biomes, it can, it affects your mental, it totally does.
Affects your brain.
Anything you put into your body, is going to affect what's going on up here. So his insane behavior could have been caused by schizophrenia. So the types of behavior that so many saw so concerning were about his sexual promiscuity. So he was very sexually promiscuous and people were very concerned about it.
Hmm.
His doctors even feared for his health because he was so obsessed with sexual promiscuity. He was a frail, slim man, and he was super concerned with looking like he worked out all the time.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
But he also, it just keeps going. Like, this man has a CVS receipt list of, like, issues. He had symptoms of paranoia, self-harm, hallucinations. There's also some whispers that he may have been bisexual or queer, which could have caused him some total mental instability, especially considering it's 1773. Like, I don't even think they had words for what he might have been experiencing.
But you said he's super sexual, but not with the wife. That's so weird.
Because then people think, maybe he was queer, and he just...
Yeah. If he had to force himself to have sex with her, then yeah, maybe. If it's like, he just genuinely... Okay.
So it's also pretty clear that he wasn't going to be a good king. Seems pretty obvious. But imagine if you got this laundry list of issues with this person, and I hate to call them issues, but I don't know what else to call them.
Yeah.
You would be like, let's not put you as like the head of two countries, Let's like not do that. But here we are. We also have to remember he is a child running this country. He is 17. Here are a few things that he allegedly did while he was king. I would love to tell you. So he stuck pins in the seat of his grandmother's chair.
What?
Like when she sat down, she like sat on pins.
Oh my God.
He's a total asshole, okay? But it's also like he was just so mentally ill and didn't know how to cope, He kept people waiting for dinner for hours on end, which is like savage, passive-aggressive move.
What? So people would just be sitting there at the table and they're like, and he's just like not coming.
And my personal favorite, I can't. He would leapfrog over the backs of people who bowed to him. So like if someone bowed in front of him, he would leapfrog over their back.
What?
He's a child.
And these are like serious people. These are like cardinals and like just fancy people. And he's like, now bend over so I can leapfrog.
I came across multiple sources that said this was a thing.
It's just so funny because I feel like we think of this time and we're like, oh my God, I wish we could just go back. And it's like, they were just as stupid and silly. Like, this guy is leapfrogging. This is the king. Also, you have to keep a straight face. You can't be like, my turn. You have to just be like, yes, sire.
Oh God. I can just imagine like the stress of his like people around him, like those who are like close to him being like, dude, can you keep it cool for like 10 fucking minutes?
Or just so embarrassing if like an actually sane, important person comes like from like, I don't know, England or France, and you're like, this is our representative and he's going to leap over your back.
Kind of similar to what's going on here.
I want to say, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And then everyone else is just kind of like, oh my God, someone contain him. Somebody.
Yeah.
But I just imagine like the tension in the castle. It must be so like, oh, it's probably just so heavy. And then like, you're just waiting for the next thing to happen. And then she's probably just in her room, like, don't fucking come near me. Like,
yeah, who knows where Caroline is? She's not stopping him from leapfrogging, that's for sure. She's like, I'm gonna get the hell out of here.
just bad times, bad vibes.
All around. Dark time.
Poor grandma. It's so hard for old people to get up too. So she's just like, that's so fucked. That is fucked right there.
It is.
But he didn't have parents. So it's like he has no idea how to treat an elder.
Right. And he just had like a school tutor. So it's not even like, how long did that second tutor last? I don't know. Like, what did they really teach him? Did they teach him just school things or did they teach him like behavior things? We don't know.
Yeah, no. Okay. Wow. This is just bad vibes.
Bad vibes. Okay. Christian would be spotted wandering the streets of Copenhagen, hitting up taverns and brothels.
Okay.
Having a good time. He even had a mistress named Catherine.
Wait. That's her name though.
No, Caroline.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So he married Caroline. They had Louisa and Franklin. Francis, perhaps.
But his mistress was called Catherine.
Right. So she's been seen heading out with the king to all the local brothels. So she went with him, which is a little interesting. He freaking loved her. Like, he thought that she was the best.
Mm.
After these brothel trips, he often came back to the castle with a ton of bruises and cuts all over him. It's also reported that when he met with diplomats, they would be chatting away, and then he would slap them in the face.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I wish I could have found like a psychiatric evaluation of him, like somebody today, like looking back at his behavior to be like, was this schizophrenia? Was this,
Or like,
what was
it
this?
not multiple personality disorder? It's the one where it's like
Maybe
borderline, where they like move through moods very quickly. People think it's bipolar, but it's like they shift moods.
Borderline personality.
Yeah, and they have like narcissism and like, but they shift quickly, like through anger. And I just, oh my God, slapping diplomats. Like, imagine like they're like, yeah, someone's got to go visit Denmark, and everyone's like, not me, not me.
Not me. Wouldn't it be so funny if, have you ever seen Drunk History?
Yes.
Okay. If they reenacted like this, but in like that.
They have to do the story. Or Puppet History with Shane. They need to.
Rory, this would have been a good Drunk History, I hate to say.
Yeah, it would. This, oh my God, getting again, you're getting slapped, you're getting leapfrog. You're also not eating on time.
Right. People are hangry. They're pissed. Most disturbingly, he was really into executions. He even went as far as to stage mock executions. He built something called a rack, which is an actual torture device. It's a rectangular wooden frame. The person getting these horrible things done to them is tied by their ankles and wrists by ropes to these pieces of wood that run like vertically across the rectangular frame. And basically their limbs are just like stretched. They're pulled so far that they would then dislocate their limbs.
Oh my God.
So Christian would ask his friends to have them tie him up to this thing and stretch him up.
Wait, so when you say, I'm just pulling this back to when you said he come back from these brothels with bruises, he likes S&M shit. Okay.
But again, it's 1773, 4, 5. People don't even have words to describe like what's
he would love
feeling.
Modern day Berlin. Like,
I could see him at like an EDM like
he would love it in his tight little leather fucking whipped pants with his little whip and like slap leapfrog. But that's the torture thing's self-loathing thing, you know. But also just that torture advice. I'm like, I've heard of that before. Like, what is wrong with people? That's fucked.
I know.
That is so fucked. But he would want it done to himself.
Right. So this is where Christian becomes incredibly relatable to you and I.
Oh, okay.
He had a little nomad era.
I love it. Okay, Christian.
Except this time, it was to try and fix his brain. Also maybe relatable.
Yeah,
So this man was shipped off to Germany, Paris, and London. Very nice. Very lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was thinking that if they could get him into a new environment, maybe his behavior would change.
Okay.
You think they would have tried this fucking sooner, but maybe he just slapped one too many diplomats.
Where was the breaking point? How many leapfrogs? So they're like, get out of my back.
How many leapfrogs get a one-way ticket to London?
And how do they convince him? You can't say it's for that. You have to be like, don't you want to go? There's lots of pretty women in Germany and lots of
I know. They really said we can fix him. They were really like, we can fix him. Really, we can.
You can't.
So during his little European backpacking phase, Christian, I forgot about this part of the story. Holy fuck. Okay. Christian met Johann Frederick Struensee.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not how you say any of those words. Struensee is a physician and immediately was like, all right, this man is seriously messed up. Like, okay, shit. It's unclear to me exactly like where they met, how, but they met.
Okay.
Probably at a brothel, to be honest. So Struensee believed that he was so messed up that he actually went back home with Christian. Like he was like, all right, Christian, you're fucked. Let's get you back because I'm a physician and I'm going to try and like help you here. Christian was like, okay, why don't you just stay on as my personal physician? And Struensee was like, okay, cool. So they head back together. It's funny because like today, if we took a flight from like Germany to Denmark, it would take like half an hour. And this is probably like weeks of them like somehow making their way back to Denmark.
Yeah, it's a very small backpacking trip. You can't go too far.
Oh, yeah. Super small. He's probably doesn't even have a backpack, you know?
Yeah. What a loser.
Struensee had some pretty radical ideas for the time, of course, because crazy attracts crazy.
Yeah.
He came right out of the Enlightenment period, which was a period of time when there were new ideas about reason, progress, liberty, changes to the status quo. So, like, people are like, we have new ideas, hurrah. And some people are like, cool. Essentially, this was a time when people were questioning authority, embracing the ideas that humanity can get better through rational change. I know, we could, okay, yeah, fair, fine. When Christian's advisors, those close to him, discovered Struensee, they were so thankful because they were like, finally, we found somebody who can deal with this insanity. But here's where things get a little crazy because, you know, they're not crazy yet. Christian loved this man. Not like love, but like they became super BFFs.
Okay.
Yeah. So much so that Struensee became master of requests and minister of the royal cabinet.
Whoa.
So they were like,
he's jumping levels. Okay.
His right-hand man. It's unclear what Struensee's true motives were.
Yeah.
He could have really wanted to help Christian, like genuinely, or he might have just been using Christian to push his own radical agenda on Danish society.
True. Both.
I know. Honestly, this would make fantastic television.
No, the movie's good. I mean, I paused because I didn't want to watch the ending, but the movie's really good. It's not where I was at. He was living with him, and they were like forming a friendship.
Okay, cool. So nothing I've researched so far is like fake.
I didn't know, but the movie does not say shit about his craziness with the leapfrogging and the bat with the club, and it doesn't not go into that or his childhood. So
probably because it's so fucked it can't be televised, you know?
Yeah.
So now that Struensee's around and he's like gaining power, those close to Christian who have power currently, they just see all of their like power and authority washing away now that Struensee is around. And they were not fans of him because they're like, here comes this random guy who he met on a backpacking trip.
Sorry, this is very Elon Musk. I'm like, this is...
Well, what's so interesting, Marie, is that all history has this thing where it repeats itself if you don't learn it.
Yeah, it's like the crazy guy and then like the sciencey mad scientist guy.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you're crazy. Let me come fix your problems. And then everybody's
actually
infiltrating. Because they're like, we didn't elect you, dear sir. And now you are taking over. Insane,
God.
Right?
Okay, continue. This is so good. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to know what the ending is. I don't want to know it, but
I don't remember the ending either, so I'm right there along with you.
Okay.
So these nobilities, they're not fans of him because they're like, here you are, you've come in, you're taking away our power. So they took action. Insane action. These nobilities, who were getting pissed, decided to stage a coup and accuse Struensee of treason. In case you need a little refresher from like 5th grade history class, treason is the crime of betraying your country and attempting to overthrow the government or even aid its enemies. So this is where I think they're like, we're accusing you of treason because basically you've come in with all these new ideas and you're trying to just shape our society and you took advantage of Christian sort of thing. That's my take. That's my take on it. Who knows? During the same time, Struensee became the lover of Caroline. So all of this is happening before Christian and Caroline have their 2 children. Let me just say this.
Okay.
So Christian becomes king. He marries Caroline. He goes on his nomad journey. He meets Struensee. Then he comes back to the castle. And they haven't had any of their children yet, okay? So Struensee becomes a lover of Caroline, and Caroline is Christian's wife. And all of a sudden, Caroline is giving birth to a daughter named Louise.
And they don't have sex.
And everyone believed that Struensee was the father of this child. But Christian publicly told everybody that he was the father.
Yeah, in the movie, they were having sex. Her and was it Johann? Was his name? Johann.
Yes.
Okay, Johann. I'm gonna call him Johann because Joann's very girly. Her and Johann were like having sex a lot, having a good time, and she finds out she's pregnant. And then she was like, I have to have sex with Christian, so he thinks it's his kid. So that's probably what happened. She like forced herself on him while he was drunk. But for her, I'm sure it was like, I don't fucking blame her. She's probably so isolated. She's terrified of him. He's bringing home his Caroline girl all the time. He's drunk. He's come home with bruises and like he's so scary. And she's probably just sitting there in the castle. Not even her culture.
Things get worse for her. Yeah, unfortunately.
But I could see like why she's like, fuck it. Like this guy's hot. He's around all the time. He's sane.
Proximity, man. It's a real thing. Yeah.
Jeez, but it's like he's playing a very dangerous game because he's making enemies with everyone in court. So he's no one to back him up. He's fucking with Christian and really testing the waters there with his trust. And then he's also fucking his wife and probably having his kids. Like this is not balanced and it's going to tip.
Things have been bad since we even begun. Yeah. So the morning after a bougie ball in Christianborg Palace, Christian's evil stepmother bursts into his room, which is like legit. Like he didn't like this stepmother woman.
Stepmother? Jeez.
And forces him to sign an order of arrest for Struensee. So she like comes in and she's like, we're fucking pissed at this guy, okay? I'm going to force you as the king, because you're really, for some reason, you still have control of everything that's happening. I need you to sign this paper to say he can be arrested. Not only to arrest what'd you say?
Johann. I just said Johann.
Johann? Okay. Not only would this signing of this paper arrest Johann, it would arrest his other friend, Count Grandin, and his wife, Caroline.
So she must have seen something.
The reason his stepmother wanted Caroline arrested is because she didn't want her to be in power. For some reason, she had like a vendetta about Caroline, and we don't really know why. Okay. For a little bit of context, this other count that is being arrested became the favorite of Christian and very friendly with Johann. So we're not exactly sure why he was arrested, but I think it's because they were just chummy.
Mm-hmm.
So Caroline was immediately taken to Kronborg Castle, also in Denmark, which, side note, is actually where Shakespeare was inspired to write Hamlet.
Oh, okay.
You know, poor Caroline didn't know she'd be staying in this like epic historic castle
that everyone goes to visit nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But in this timeline, actually, what's crazy is I wrote, in this timeline, Shakespeare had already written the story. So he had written the story, but it must have not become like popularized yet. And it was about this castle that she actually got sent to, but it wasn't like the castle yet.
What a time. What a time.
Dude, so much is happening. I know. If only Shakespeare got away for this shit.
Yeah, he was like, damn, I wrote the wrong story. Give me this shit.
Okay. So Johann was chained to a wall and he heard that Caroline was being arrested and sent away. And he was like, Christian, I love your wife, man. Oh, I love your wife. And we've been seeing each other behind your back. So he admits it. After he's been chained up to be arrested, he's like, yo, dude, I'm so sorry, but I love her. Caroline also confesses this is true, that they did have a relationship, as she's also being, whisked away. So Johann and this other Count, Brandt, that were arrested, that's what I'm going to call him, because I don't know how to say his last name, they were immediately condemned to death. And they were brutally executed. I will spare you the details, but I want you to know that it was in front of thousands of people, because keep in mind, public executions were a thing during this time. Both of their right hands were severed, and their bodies were broken on the wheel, which is another torture device called the execution wheel. And based on my research, their bodies would be tied to this wheel and spun, which breaks their bones. It's so disgusting. And then they were beheaded.
Wait, so with the wheel, are they just being spun around, or is it like the wheel's on top of their body?
So the wheel is like, think of like an old like farm wheel, but like wooden. Mm-hmm. So I think they're put on it either like on their stomach or on their back, like, and it's rolled and it breaks their bones.
My God.
And then they were beheaded.
That makes me want to throw up. That is honestly, that has to be the worst death.
I'm going to actually look it up real quick. Hold on.
Oh my God. I hate that humans could think of shit like this. This is so disturbing.
Oh, it's far worse than I thought. Let me show you.
Oh no. Oh my God.
I don't even, not really
Don't
sure how to even describe that in an
I
auditory
would not
format.
look this up if you wanna have a good day. That's fucking horrible.
No, it's bad. Things are bad. Things are
Okay,
bad.
I don't care. I'd rather be celibate my whole life and never cheat and never do anything wrong than ever get that. I don't think any sex with someone's wife is worth that. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how beautiful she is. And I for her, I get it too. Like she's so bored and stressed. Was it
True.
worth it? That's so bad.
And what makes me think is like, did they truly think that they were going to get away with that? Because they knew public executions were like a thing. And like, she's a woman. She'd be the first to be beheaded like that. So did they must have really thought that they were going to get away with it and he wouldn't do that? Or they were just like so miserable that they decided to do that.
Why tell him? You're already down the dumps. Like, why tell him?
And I wonder if Johann would have been saved if he wouldn't have admitted that he did sleep with her. You know what I mean?
Because you're condemning her when you say that too. I just like what point are we missing in this like history where like what made him feel like he needed to say that? Did they have him cornered? In the movie, the evil stepmom sees Johann and Caroline like very intimately, like they were like talking very whispery, maybe kissed, and that's in the movie. Like she goes and tells what's his face. So I wonder if like people already knew and they cornered him. But he's a crazy guy. Why would you tell the crazy guy
who's like unstable? Yeah.
Who thinks you're his best friend? No. Okay. That image was horrible.
So now that he's out of the way, now that Johann Struensee, he's out of the picture. Peace. We are all rooting for the bounce back of Christian. We're like, sick. Maybe he'll get his head screwed on straight. Like this is his time to shine. He's got this terrible person who he thought was a friend, and maybe he was. His motives, we still are unclear what he was really trying to do, but he's out of the picture. But I hate to say it, but Christian just absolutely deteriorated after this, if he wasn't already. He would be found hitting his head against the wall.
Oh, God.
Physically attacking people he knew, laughing violently.
No.
He's just terrifying creature. He would wake up in the morning after sleeping and say that he killed several people that night. Who knows if that's really true? He'd run around the castle throwing furniture out of the window. And he often spoke, and people were like, I literally do not understand what you were saying. Like, he would say words to people, and people were like, I cannot understand you.
Oh, my God.
Like, maybe he was possessed.
Yeah, actually. Like, this is next level.
Yeah. That's terrifying. It's so scary. So now his nobility and his court, they're very wary of him because he's just like gone off the rails. I don't even know if the rails ever existed, but here we are. It's not that they hadn't really been like nervous or concerned about him before, but now they are especially nervous about him because he brought in Johann, who turned out to cause a whole lot of trouble. So now they're like, what the fuck? So Caroline and Christian's marriage officially ended on April 6th, 1772, because of her affair.
Did she die?
Because she was thrown out on the street without her children and was no longer a queen anymore. She was supposed to be locked away at a different castle, like we talked about, but her brother, King George III, intervened.
Okay.
Who, isn't that crazy? Your brother is also royalty, but she was like, chosen to marry this prince.
Wow.
Your king. So after some negotiations, they released her from imprisonment.
Good.
And she wasn't even 20 years old, by the way.
Oh, my God. This is a lot. Oh, my God.
This is a lot of trauma. She was nicely sent to her brother's castle and spent the rest of her life there.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
I know.
Wait, so in a weird way, like Johann sacrificed his life for her to get her life back.
Right.
That makes me so happy she actually lived a good life.
Yes. So she left. By the rest of her life, I mean that she died when she was 23.
Oh no. Oh, no.
Would you like to know what she died from?
Sure.
Do you want to guess?
It's an STD.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
She died of a fever and a sore throat.
Oh, well, that would get you back then.
It would.
It's all you need. Did. One cold and you're done.
So she had 3 years of freedom and peace.
God.
I know. What? Okay. So she died of a fever and sore throat. But what we now know is that she had scarlet fever.
Oh, okay. That's not too fun. Yeah.
And to be totally honest, she got the better end of all of this drama.
No,
I
she
think.
did. She did. Wow.
We are nearing the end. We're still not over yet, but how do you feel?
I don't know. It's just all unnecessary. A lot of this is just so unnecessary because he's just crazy. People should just be allowed to marry who they want, and then we don't have to put people on wheels. That's the worst part I think I've heard of this whole story. That is okay. So it's just like if he had just not met Christian, his whole life would have been fine. He would probably just be a doctor in a small town,
Right?
and not put on a wheel like a couple years later. It's just like you just never who you're going to meet back then, or even today. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Yes. So soon after his divorce, Christian's divorce, he became interested in bodily and sexual pleasures. Now, we know from early on, this has always been something that has interested him. He's always kind of been into this. So it's also, 1770 something. So we need to, this is a lot for people to handle. This is a lot. He's ahead of his time. Okay, so after the little incident of, everybody dying horribly and him going a little bit more insane after they divorced, his stepmother and his half-brother took over the throne. They're like, all right, we have had a fucking enough. We're going to try and get him out of here. And I also don't know if his stepmom is really any better than him because she, wrote for the arrest of Johann and his wife and just bad. So in 1784, Christian signed a document that would be a regency. This means that while Christian would still really be king, he wouldn't be the one calling the shots or making the decisions. They had, the other people behind the scenes saying, it's basically a power of attorney. Like, if you get fucked, we're going to make decisions for you. But he's still alive. On paper and on the front end of things, Christian was still king.
Okay.
But just like every great ruler, there were a ton of people in the background really doing all of the legwork. And they had probably a lot of shit to clean up. Imagine all this is happening, but also like they have to like keep this country running.
Yeah.
Like there are other things.
This is also the age of revolutions. So they're watching France next door get like everyone's getting beheaded. America's going against England. Like everyone's revolting. And then you're asking for a revolt. People are like, y'all are rich and wealthy. We're starving and y'all don't have your shit together. Like.
So during the time of 1772 to 1784, Christian lived in isolation with a caretaker. So after he had the divorce, after all this shit has happened and his stepmom and half-brother take over and he signs his paper, he goes to live in isolation with a caretaker.
Poor caretaker.
I know. Who gets hired? So his servants were instructed to not follow any of his orders. So no matter what he said, they were like, you can't fucking do that.
Love it.
Okay. I know. He would often get incredibly violent, unsurprising given his past behavior, which caused him to be locked in a room and sometimes even tied to a chair. He was often seen through the window, making faces at people passing by, which is just horrifying.
Oh my God. You're like, that's the king.
Yeah. He's like sticking his tongue out the window, like throwing up a peace sign. He was also seen pacing up and down his apartment. He was a pacer, that was him. So his stepmom, and stepbrother were really running the show, and he was only bothered for official business for his signature, which I don't know why they didn't just fucking sign it themselves. Little did they know none of this would really matter. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, we get to 1808. Whew, we have time traveled. I'm not sure really what has happened to Christian between 1784 and 1808 if he is still tied in a chair in this room. And frankly, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So he died from a stroke at the age of 59.
God, he lived long.
I know. He did live long. Considering he lived like, a long time after Caroline. Another source tells us that he died from shock. And he died from shock after seeing Spanish troops enter the city of Struensee. I would assume that is a German city, perhaps. I think it was probably a heart attack. They just didn't know what that was. And they're like, he died from shock, when he probably just went into cardiac arrest.
I don't give a fuck about the Spanish troops heading towards Like,
because he probably thought he was in Spain for all he knew.
yeah.
This was, like, for a little bit of context, in 1808, this was during the Napoleonic Wars, which I don't know a lot about, but hopefully somebody listening to this will be like, oh yeah, cool. Okay, that makes sense to me. So we have reached the very end, and I think the idea of mental health is so different and was really non-existent there at all. Like, maybe he wasn't really as crazy as everybody seemed. Like, if that man stepped into today with the same mental health and was given medication and what he needed, would he have been as crazy?
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Also, this is a story that's been passed down for like 2 centuries. So people could have
Right.
added things. He probably was freaking crazy. But like, who knows? Like, because people were like, oh, he's the mad king. And then they add stuff, you know?
Like the leapfrogging. Was that really real? We'll never know.
And also therapy. Like, he would have had access to therapists to be like, what happened with the tutor, really? You know? He's abandoned, which gives like no self-confidence, maybe there's no self-worth, which means why he probably likes to be tied up and beaten later on in life. But then the tutor, I feel like that's when violence started. So the tutor definitely beat the shit out of him.
Yep, he did.
Yeah. And modern day Christian therapy, pills,
time in the woods. Matt, he can go on another backpacking trip, but no meeting friends.
Yeah.
No hostels.
Yeah, no hostels. Yeah. He would live in Berlin. He would live in Berlin, have a therapist, he's in a polyamorous situation, boy and girl.
Yep. What do you think he would do on the weekends?
He just wants to be whipped. He just likes pain. Yeah, he would go out. He'd party. He would be freaking boom, 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 all the way till 4 a.m. in Berlin. He's a Berliner. He just was in the wrong place, wrong time.
He was born in the wrong era, I swear. This poor guy. Okay, maybe I do feel bad for him now.
If he had the right, but then it's like, if you have all those resources and you're still an asshole, then that's on him. But don't like how he treated his grandma. Don't like how he treated Catherine. Don't blame her at all for Johann. I don't know. He could have.
We don't know what to think of him because we don't know like his true motives, you know?
I think that's what spun him crazy. His trust with Johann, his friendship with him.
Yeah.
And why he probably had the worst death because he's like, fuck you.
Totally.
Wow. What is the lesson of this? I don't know.
I think seek help. If you or someone you know are making faces out the window at passersby, it's a sign for an intervention.
It's just so funny because that time period was so revolutionary in so many ways for other countries, and Denmark was descending into madness.
Like imagine everybody's like, ooh, the Enlightenment, new ideas, and he's like fucking leapfrogging over the diplomats in front
and Denmark's like, we're crazy. I just would love to know like what people like just the dinner talk that royals were having around England and France, and they're like, have you ever been what's going on in Denmark? They're like,
I know. They'd be like, did you hear about what he did this week? Or even like the bars in Copenhagen, like people like, you'd also have like, be looking over your shoulder because he might be coming up behind you.
With a fucking bat. Right? Too much, too crazy. And yeah, we have a crazy guy now, but at least he's not hitting people with bats.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. You have a lot of stuff to shout out. So just take the stage.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me tell you about Denmark. That was so fun.
I feel like it's good that you came on to talk about Denmark because all I have are just like little facts and fun facts, but you actually been there and
love it.
Yeah.
So much.
I would like to go when I have more money in my pocket so I can actually, because I want to eat the damn pastries, you know, and I know they're like $7 a pastry.
They are. That's why you need to go with somebody so you can halvesy, you know?
Yeah. Split things.
Right.
That's a good point. But yeah, what do you have to shout out?
If you liked the sound of my voice in your ears for this long, you can listen to the Travel Creator Podcast. It is the only podcast for travel influencers where I show you how to build a travel creator business. That's crazy. Marie produces and edits the show. So if anything's wrong with it, that's her fault.
True.
You can find me there. If you want to like be friends, you can find me on Instagram at Travel Content Writing as well.
Yeah, definitely follow Laura. Her podcast is so good. Like it's literally blowing up as we speak. You give really good tips, but it's also fun and you have really good guests on. I feel like people will get dismayed by influencer. Like if you're just a content creator, like you could have a newsletter or you could be a YouTuber or you want to like learn how to just get into the travel space. And now you're learning UGC, which is cool too.
Yeah.
if like you are into travel content, like you don't need to go anywhere else. Like that's the podcast. It's literally called The Travel Creator.
The Travel Creator.
Yes, we have
Can't
good
fuck it.
SEO, so you can find us. And yeah, how do you say bye in Danish?
Hi, or VCs.
Wait, hi.
Yeah. Except like, when we say bye, we're like, bye. Like the inflection, they're like, hi.
Oh,
or like VCs.
Keep it flat. Hi. PCs?
VCs.
Oh,
VISES.
That's so cute.
VCs means it means see you soon or like see you again.
I like that. That's so cute. Okay, yay, we did it. That story is insane. No pun intended. Or maybe it is intended. Just in general, like, God. There's just, what can you do when you have a mad king, you know? I found that story because there's a movie called The Royal Affair. So if you actually want to like watch the movie and get the feel of like the story and also be low-key stressed out, it's called The Royal Affair. I haven't finished it yet because I didn't want to know the ending, but I got pretty far deep into it. And yeah, it's a good movie. It's entertaining. And you can get a real feel for everything. The movie focuses more on the wife and the affair, it's called The Royal Affair, more than his madness. So when Laura was explaining how actually insane he was, I wish they put that more in the movie because like this is all making more sense. Anyways, it's called The Royal Affair. I watch it on 123 Movies. By the way, if you like want to stop paying for Netflix, just type 123 Movies on the computer and you can watch anything you ever want to watch. Don't do it if you don't have a Mac because you're going to get a virus. Okay. Anyways. So yeah, thank you, Laura, for not only writing that story. She writes all my stories, but telling it so damn good. So it's just clutch having a writer because now things are moving faster in the production of this podcast. So we are taking a break. It is summer and Laura's going to be writing the next season. I'm going to be working on my business this summer. So taking a little break. And we'll come back, I probably like in the fall, and we'll be covering, I know for sure we're covering Australia because I have so many guests I want to come on from Australia, really good stories. And I'm thinking we're going to cover Iran because I think it's important to cover countries that like have a lot of stereotypes that people don't actually know what the culture is actually like. Iran's going to be a beautiful, beautiful series. And then Scotland, because I want my grandmother to come on and she loves Scotland and we want to cover Scotland together. So essentially going on a little bit of a break this summer. I do have one more episode of Denmark. I don't know when it's going to come out. So you might get a surprise episode in the middle of summer with Denmark, which is exciting. But in general, while you're not listening to me this summer, which thank you again, guys, for listening, but you're not going to have me for the summer. So I want to give you some suggestions. First of all, Laura's podcast, again, is great if you are a content creator. Like if you're a travel creator, like what are you doing not listening to that podcast? She has all the information you need and it's entertaining. Other podcasts I'm listening to that I can suggest to you. Right now I'm listening to the Personal Finance podcast. Sounds boring, but it's life-changing. And if you need that shit, you should look it up. It has a green background and it's called the Personal Finance Podcast. Another podcast I listen to, I don't know who this is for. But it's called My Favorite Aunties. And it's not for my demographic. It's definitely for older Black women who go to church. But it's so good. It's so wholesome. It makes me feel so good inside. If you just need a good laugh and you just want to have some like wholesome content, even if you don't really relate to the content, maybe you do. I like to listen to My Favorite Aunties. That's a good podcast. If you want a podcast that'll make you fucking laugh, like really laugh, and it's a history podcast, listen to The Dollop. Oh my God, The Dollop. Like, it's actually really bad. Like, you should not listen to that in public because you're going to pee your pants. But it's like an improv history comedy show. So at first I didn't understand what was going on, but then I was like, oh, it's improv. It's so fucking funny. Just skip like the first 3 or 4 minutes because they're literally doing ads and it's so annoying. But those are just my podcast suggestions for you for this summer while we're on break. I also have my own business podcast called Entrepreneur Honestly. If you are an entrepreneur, freelancer, and you just want like honest talks and advice about entrepreneurship, I have a podcast called Entrepreneur Honestly you can check out. But in general, don't leave. I'll be back. I will be back. I promise. I'm trying to scale my business to 6 figures. So I'm taking the summer to just really focus on that. And Laura will be writing the next stories, which will be, as of right now, it's going to be Australia, Iran, and Scotland, which is super exciting. Okay. In the meantime, thank you so much. I'm going to shout out the countries that were the biggest listeners for this season. Okay. So our top countries for this season have been Australia. Woo! Well, you're going to love when I cover your country, hopefully. Germany, as always, my most OG listener. Thank you so much, Germany. The UK, also OG. And we have Canada, hey, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Taiwan, and Japan. Those are some of our top listeners of this season. And then the top cities and places of the season were New South Wales, Frankfurt, Chicago, Missouri, what's up? New Jersey, and Colorado as always. And a huge thanks to California. I used to live there. I miss it so much. And y'all are always listening, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you guys. Thank you guys. Love y'all. I will see y'all into summer. Have fun with those podcasts. I'll have them in the show notes if you want to check out the podcast I listen to. And I will see y'all soon.
What if you could trade your content time for travel time? Doesn't sometimes it stress you out when you're creating a bunch of content and you're just thinking, oh, I wish I could be doing literally anything else right now? Yeah, I get it. I'm Laura, and I'm a content developer for travel creators and the owner of Travel Content Writing. I help travel creators find smarter ways to use their content so that they can spend more time working on the parts of their creator journey that actually require their expertise. Because the truth is, you aren't the only one who can write your next Instagram caption, and we all know you have way more important things to do than just that. For the creators I work with, I help them repurpose their content. This means they turn a few pieces of their highest performing content into even more pieces of content. You spend so much time putting together great pieces of content, it really is a shame that most of them only hit the internet one time and in one format. With content repurposing, I help travel creators use what they already have. The benefit is that you get quick growth and get to spend less time on the small details of your content that are just sucking up your time. I also support travel creators and help them grow through newsletter creation. Newsletter creation is slept on in the travel creator world, and in this show you'll hear why it's the secret to creating a rock-solid, big community and how you can get started. So why should you even trust me to help you write your travel content or even just give you advice on how to write your travel content? Well, I'm a writer by trade. I have been doing this writing thing for a while now. I've been a content developer for businesses in a wide variety of niches, so I know a thing or two about sounding like your brand. I've also been working in digital marketing since 2018. I've even had some pretty amazing opportunities to work with travel influencers by helping them reach new people in less time. I won't read you all of the nice things that my clients say about me here, even though the Leo in me would really love that. But if you want to see them, they are on my website, travelcontentwriting.com, if you're feeling nosy. I almost forgot to mention, I am a digital nomad. I have not spent more than 3 weeks in one place since 2021. So although I'm not a travel blogger, I do know what it's like to squeeze work into those times when you're actually in front of your computer. But almost 2 years ago, I saw what you're going through as a travel creator. I love to travel myself. And after falling onto the travel side of Instagram, I kept seeing stories of travel creators saying things like, sorry, I haven't shared about this trip yet, or I'm behind working on content from X destination, but stick around for it. Basically, I was seeing left and right creators who struggled to write content or even be consistent in their content that really connected with their audience and gave them time to create even more valuable pieces of content. I was kind of shocked, actually. I remember thinking, surely there has to be a way or a solution for travel creators to manage all of this content without going crazy. And that brings us to this podcast. This podcast is where travel creators can come to learn how to up their content game and be strategic with where they use their content time. This is not where you'll find quick growth schemes or how to do this to get 1,000 followers in 30 minutes. No, I'm not here to give you more noise. I'm here to cut through the bullshit of travel creator advice and give you tangible, real tips in 15 minutes or less that you can apply to your content so you can do more of what you need to do to help you advance your creator journey. Here is what you can expect to learn on the podcast this season. We'll be talking about what content repurposing is and why it's important for travel creators. We will also be setting up a content organization system I know you've been putting off. We'll even talk about why you should start a newsletter and how. And we'll dive into one of my favorite topics, why it matters that you don't own your social media content and what the heck you can do about it. We'll also be talking about how you can increase your email open rates, how to know what content is worth repurposing, how to steal like an artist, and why you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you start creating content, and even what I wish travel creators didn't do when trying to organize their content. If any of that sounds like it might be helpful or you're interested in learning more, you can expect to find new episodes out wherever you love to listen every Thursday. And if you're really excited about this and want to help me out, you can share this with a friend or even leave a review on Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you'd like to do some stalking, you can find me on Instagram at Travel Content Writing. Thanks for listening, happy creating, and I'll see you soon.